I have to get clear. I have to get clear. I have to get clear. Oh, I have to get clear. Yeah. Yeah, my voice is still lost. But welcome to the news. I have to get clear for everyone to be able to follow Dinky Tehc, to be able to get a better understanding for how to play the global giving games, which is Change4Games Studios in essence. Oh. So it's a framework, it's a mentality, it's a mindset, it's an understanding, it's a definition, it's a broader concept of a energy to be able to follow, to be able to play the global giving games. But there's got to be a leader, a way to have an instruction to be able to figure out how to play the global giving games. Oh yeah, yesterday, how are you doing? Welcome to the news. How are you? Welcome yesterday. Yesterday we talked about an ice rink, and that ice rink is where the global giving games is hosted. In essence, and like 2 or 3 nights ago we talked about making a pro shop, or 2 or 3 nights ago we talked about, or a bunch of nights ago we talked about making a skate shop, and a couple nights ago we talked about making a pro shop. Oh yeah, so that skate shop is within the pro shop actually. Oh yeah, so we're getting wider and wider and we're broadening it out. But actually in the reality sense, what we were talking about is a pro shop that's within an ice rink. And oh yeah, then last night we talked about, this is a recap, last night we talked about an ice rink being within being a greater sense, and the pro shop is within an ice rink because pro shops tend to be within ice rinks. Oh yeah, and I played hockey when I was younger, so that's how it is. Oh yeah, there's hockey, there's pro shops within an ice rink. Oh yeah, and the ice rink is indicative, and it is a symbol and a symbiology for the global giving games. It is the symbiology for the games for Change Studios, which is in essence a global giving games framework. Oh yeah, for the whole world to be able to transpose and change their whole mindset. So the whole world of business is able to then be able to be the global giving games, which means that the whole world of business has to be able to come to the realization of the changes that need to happen for that to be able to happen. In essence, and it's also already at the same time a realization by just realizing and following this podcast and understanding the realization that it's already real as of right now, as of already now. It's just a nature and a methodology of changing the framework to begin with. It's similar. In a similar sense. It's a parallel. I'm making a parallel to a church because, in essence, Change4Games Studios is like a church. It's not exactly like a church, but it's a church in a similar fashion that SRF, which is Self-Realization Fellowship, which is somewhat of a religious organization, but not at the same time. It's a spiritual organization. It's based in CA, California, necessarily, so you can reference it if you needed to. But basically, it's a combination of 5 different little religions, and one of the religions which I'm about to reference is referenced within SRF, which it references those 5 religions, which entails like Buddhism, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, and Hinduism. So yeah. Basically, Change4Games Studios is like a religion in of itself because it's kind of a wider perspective, similar to the ice rink and the pro shop with the skate shop inside of it. Oh yeah, it's like widening the spectrum beyond basically SRF, which is the Self-Realization Fellowship foundational mindset, so to speak, for this whole conceptual construct of acknowledgement and understanding the greater purpose of this whole podcast to begin with, which has to do with spiritual science. Oh yeah, and then spiritual finances within that. Oh yeah, for sure. Sorry, my voice is still lost. But anyways, moving on, it is necessary to acknowledge, okay, sure, we can be a religion. Change4Games Studios can be a religion. It can be a church. It wants to be a church. It is kind of a church because it's a spiritual center place for a mindset as a whole, which is not bound by any sort of a world. It's not bound by societies. It's not bound by constructs and things like that. So to be able to flow within the mindset and the constructs and the whole process and the organization and the whole flow of Change4Games Studios, which is what I was starting out this podcast by trying to say, is that I need to get clear on my mindset. I need to get clear on my mindset. I need to get clear on my mindset. I need to get clear on my flow. I need to clear on my mindset because I need to clear out all the spatial surrounding distractions at all given times so that I can create focus, so that I can create a greater understanding for folks to be able to follow the flow of Dinky Tehc energy, because Dinky Tehc is an energy as a whole. That is what it is as a symbol, is energy in essence. So as a reference, Change4Games Studios is like the ice rink. It's like an ice rink because last night I talked about how it's like 2 ice rinks are basically like, they're like the eyeballs and the symbol of Dinky Tehc, which is a symbol for the eyeballs in the symbol in the logo are two black holes, basically, in last night's example, but at the same time it's also a black hole sun. That's what the symbol is. That's why one eye is filled, the other eye is not filled with a yellow sun. The other one is a black hole. That's what it is a black hole sun, which is an endless energy generator, but in reality, in space, there is two black holes that connect with each other, and they can create significant, huge, giant energy generation in essence. And that's what spiritual finance is all about, is energy generation from understanding of statistics and energy flow in science. And that's spiritual science as a whole. That is spiritual science. So that's what SRF relates to. It's not just spirituality, but it's science as well. And that is what Change4Games Studios is all about, is a framework, a mentality, a methodology, a whole construct where the whole world transforms into the methodology of being able to leverage spiritual finance, which is a step beyond spiritual science, in my opinion. In essence, it's supposed to be that. It's a wider spectrum just to include spiritual science within that, because money is the greatest importance for all people on this world, and their focuses, for example, and their focuses are the greatest asset to be able to translate and transpose the existing life in essence, to be able to widen the spectrum and widen the perspective and widen the scope a bit more from not just spiritual finance and spiritual science within that, but widening it beyond that to monetary energy, and then widening it beyond that to the thing that encases and fuels the nature of the games. I can't get the singing out. I can't do it right now because my voice is lost into the Change4Games Studios realm, which is trying to be fueled by philanthropy energy, which is trying to change the nature of the scope of business as a whole as of right now, which is Change4Games Studios, which is fueled by philanthropy energy, which is a more clean fuel than monetary energy is, and it just changes the nature of the game of existence and the game of business as a whole as of right now, if it is acknowledged what needs to be done, which is what Dinky Tehc needs to get clear upon, which is making it more clear as to what Dinky Tehc needs to do to try to lead a focus for getting an ability to be able to gravitate more people towards a focus of being able to just understand what's already is there in front of them, which is games being able to be played, to be able to create monetary energy, which is also philanthropic energy, and this framework of having an ice rink, which I talked about in last night's podcast, to be able to use that framework of an ice rink, because everybody as a symbol is able to play these childhood games with each other by realizing scarcity on this planet through their existence and having gratitude as a result of that, and therefore starting to measure statistics in every facet around the whole world that are already existing as of right now, but gratitude is not factored into that, so there's a lot of waste as a result of that lack of acknowledgement of gratitude for a scarcity in life, of life as a whole to begin with. So therefore there's a lot of waste because there's a lot of ignorance for scarcity as a whole. So a lot of people with a lot of money, which is monetary energy, which is energy that connects to all other energies on the planet, that connects to human beings at least, and that energy that's foundational and fundamental can be stretched when it's acknowledged how scarcity and acknowledgement of appreciation and gratitude can stretch to every single human being in life, if waste can be cut out, in essence, by acknowledging that, by acknowledging, first of all, that this ice rink exists in the sky. It is a sky existing ice rink, just like I talked about before in the past, a skate shop, a skateboarding shop that's in the sky. That's Dinky Tehc World, Dinky Tehc's skateboarding shop, in essence, to be able to sell gear and swag with the Dinky Tehc logo, in essence. But that's the energy that is within the Change4Games Studios framework. So therefore, the skateboard shop is within the pro shop that is within the ice rink. So that's kind of the three steps of where we're talking about in terms of a fake but realistic architecture to be able to visualize for the Change4Games Studios world. And Dinky Tehc is within the Change4Games Studios framework as well, because Dinky Tehc is the energy, he's like the soccer ball, and the Change4Games Studios is like the stadium. So that's what all I'm saying. I'm just trying to repeat now, because I'm going to have to probably repeat this in the future if I ever get any kind of functional freaking people to be able to be part of the Dinky Tehc ecosystem, or acknowledgement, or
community ever, necessarily. And this is just kind of starting on that path by just trying to get people to acknowledge the fun ability for games to be played within the business realm, and business to be able to become games by developing energy similar to a ice rink that basically has this configured imagined system underneath it that reconfigures all energy that's played on top of it. So once the realization happens, because it's in the sky, everybody who acknowledges this ability to acknowledge foundational statistics as a way to acknowledge monetary energy as a reflection of gratitude for existence, for living, for existing in the world. And as a result of having that gratitude for money and acknowledging the way that monetary energy is scarce and has scarcity and can give life and breathe life into people in all parts of the world, if that energy is shared effectively, if people are able to and willing to make sacrifices for stupid, wasted monetary energy that happens in all corners of the world all the time, because people who are wealthy are abundant and they throw money and monetary as well as asset energy out the window all the time on stupid expenditures. And if that can be repurposed into gratitude for all of humanity being connected in this global energy grid, like it is that we are talking about, that is all connected underneath the ice rink,
because ice rinks are programmed by a certain way to keep the ice rinks frozen, but that's just a metaphor, because that system is just is a systematization that's being transposed and transformed into this imagination society, where it is imagination that is what is able to power the whole process and flow and such things. For example, so if people can imagine this ice rink that's in the sky and the pro shop within that and the skate shop within that, but that's just almost irrelevant, but those are products that help support the ice rink as a whole, if those are acknowledged. But the ice rink as a whole in the sky, and once you get into the sky, once you get off your feet, you get off the ground, and you can float mentally in this arena, in this ice rink, in this realm, then you also have Dinky Tehc, which is a mindset which is provided for you within this energy. It is free, in essence, by acknowledging that this ice rink in the sky exists to begin with. And that is like Christianity, because you have to acknowledge, and what they have said in Christianity is that to get eternal life, you have to just acknowledge God, and you have to acknowledge that stuff exists. But that's not what I'm saying here. I'm saying in essence, this is not specifically that way at all. But to acknowledge the Dinky Tehc and Change4Games Studios realm is to acknowledge the energy that is within the potential of the self. And it has nothing to do with those other religions, but it has to do with acknowledging this ice rink that's in the sky, that's a metaphor for having the energy that's underneath that ice rink to be able to control the mechanics of the global grid for philanthropy energy. That is what powers the ice rink in this instance, in this realm, in this world, in this ability to acknowledge this functional system. Oh yeah, the system is powered by philanthropy energy, and that's what exists underneath the ice rink. And so we need more people to be able to acknowledge this system and float up to the sky, to be able to use their imagination, to be able to continue to propagate and pull monetary energy from its roots out into every corner and every person in the world, through people wanting to participate, through people wanting to use their imaginations. And it starts by just acknowledging the ice rink that is in the sky to begin with. So that is part of my responsibility, to get clear, to be able to push more of that ice rink mentality and that game mentality of being able to play in the sky, because gravity does not matter in this imaginative world, because when you use your imagination, it's similar to realization, because when you realize it's there, you can realize you can participate in it, and that is a real, actual thing that is in a physical form, can manifest and take place just by starting to acknowledge the nature of the mechanics of this operation to begin with, which is starting with imagination to then transition into realization based on the framework of what all these energies are that are around us, that exist in an ecosystem that is the economy, that exists in the current way and the state and the frame of mind of how things are and how things are being at the current present given time. So that therefore it's a matter of acknowledging energy that's spread in a global grid that connects every single human being that's on the planet, which also then therefore connects into the roots of monetary energy, which also therefore connects into all human beings on the planet. And by acknowledging that and having complete gratitude and using visualization and imagination to be able to connect visualization to then spread monetary energy and change that into philanthropy energy, which the ice rink will do organically if everybody's using the Dinky Tehc methodologies, following these podcasts, and just trying to work together in the whole world so everybody's playing the global giving games together every single day by acknowledging that these energies exist, and then therefore being able to transition those energies into philanthropy energy so that everybody's able to share in these energies as best as possible, because there's so much wasted energy, there's so much wasted monetary energy, and every single day that there's progress in getting closer towards acknowledging that these global giving games, by just acknowledging global giving and using the Dinky Tehc framework of energy, which exists in every single person also to begin with. And this is just a matter of bringing it out, this marketing ploy, if you will, this marketing process of getting Dinky Tehc out into the world is just a better part of getting people to acknowledge this Dinky Tehc part of themselves that already exists within themselves. And it's a symbol for energy that's already within themselves, which is kid energy. It's kid energy that's just latent, and it's within all humans, and it's just there because they all were obviously kids, but it's still being able to play games as kids and being able to use that energy, just like if you're skating on the ice rink, all of the energy on the ice rink that's happening on the ice rink, once people are able to acknowledge that this world exists, is able to be repurposed and transitioned back down under the ground, back into philanthropy energy. And that's the nature and the purpose of the games, is to be able to use that kid energy and using the pressure on top of the ice rink to be able to repurpose it through the pipes back into a different type of energy, including monetary energy, and then transitioning that back into and floating it within the system and the pipes underneath the ground, underneath the ice, in quotes. It's not ice, it's just a metaphor for ice. It's an ice rink that happens to be a metaphor for the whole world, and transitioning that back into philanthropy energy, because that's what the systematization, that's what the system is made for, underneath the ice, underneath the ground, is to be able to transition that energy back into philanthropy energy, so the whole world is working together to be able to make and create abundant philanthropy energy, so all humans can be connected to that, and everybody is able to then therefore be able to communicate and connect as one in very many ways, or as many ways as possible, to be able to use the collective of the world and the nature of giving games and games as children to be able to all play together and be able to transform the game of business into the game of global giving games, so all people are able to communicate and connect and one global giving energy, become one country and one world and one world government, just through games and giving and being kids again, which everybody, I'm hoping, would love to do, because that's what everybody at their core foundation was once before. And using the Dinky Tehc framework and the Dinky Tehc energy, they're able to wear it like a suit in this ice rink game and be able to play in whatever costume you want as a kid, in whatever game you want, just from using imagination. There's a movie like Peter Pan with Dustin Hoffman, Hook, it was called, where he realized at one point in time, with all this food was in front of him. If you've ever seen that movie in Disney called Hook, and he realized all the food was in front of him one time, and then it just appeared out of thin air. And that's what we're talking about doing right now, is everybody in the world realizing and having that realization that those kid vibes are still inside of them, and then they see the food, they see the goods, and everybody can transition the global giving games from the nature of how business is now, and just be able to wreck all of the wasted abundance that is wasted on an ongoing basis, by measuring and using statistics on a day-to-day basis to be able to stretch out all the monetary energy and transform all of it into philanthropy energy, by first being able to float up into the sky into this global giving games ice rink that is also called Change4Games Studios. So let's all meet there. I'll meet you there. Come on down, come on up. Start to just kick off your shoes and put on the shoes that do not have gravity attached to them. You get free shoes in this Dinky Tehc world. It's Imagination Station. Start process place number 1 right now. This is where we're starting. So put on your new shoes. They're free. Dinky Tehc gives them to you. It's the Dinky Tehc energy and the mindset. Use the visualization and start to float up to the ice rink, because that's where it all starts. And that energy that's within that ice rink in that environment is already propagating. And now the more that you can just help continue to propagate it, the more we all can benefit from it in the whole world, because nothing is more powerful than the collective of the whole world combined. In essence, all people and the grid, the global grid of philanthropic energy, connecting and combining, everyone being able to plug into the roots for the same given, all encompassing, beneficial, benefiting everyone in the world purposes. Thanks again, Dinky Tehc. Bye. Peace. Bye.